So, Robin, you and I have both been sick, and one of the things that I was so surprised with afterwards was nobody told me I'd be depressed. Like, and it hit me harder because I don't think people talk about it.
People don't talk about it. People don't talk about when you have an experience like it could be sickness or trauma or something like that. Nobody tells you that once you get through that extremely traumatic event, that you are going to feel like shit for a while.
Everybody seems to think you'll be so happy.
You're fine. You're like, oh, guess what? Now you're fine though. You should be cool. Like, yeah, Kat, and you're like, no, because you're facing reality. You're like, oh my God, we don't live forever.
No.
Guess what? And also you learn when you learn that, oh my God, shit really does happen.
Well, just the physical strain on your body.
Yeah,
really
exactly.
So, this is Robin Wilson-Beatty from @SexAbled on Twitter, and I'm Cathy Cathy from TheIntimacyDojo.com. And I wanted to share because I was lucky that I was in a place where I could at least Google, like, why am I so tired and don't have any interest in anything? Like, even food didn't taste exciting to me.
Yes.
And I was like, what's wrong? I'm like, oh, this is perfectly normal. Most people after a serious illness or near death, it's like 2 to 3 months.
Yes.
But nobody in the hospital said a word.
Yeah, that actually should be part of rehab.
Yeah.
Where you have the emotional support. That's why, I know, like, for certain traumatic events, sometimes, there are support, groups, but it's still not emphasized and talked about enough that once you like you said, sickness, when you, like, especially, like, when you have, like, being serious, like a near-death experience, when you encounter that, it takes a while.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's months and sometimes it's years.
Yeah.
It depends on...
They recommend that you not make any major decisions for 2 to 3 months after.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a good reason why.
Yeah, so much is changing.
Yeah, so much is changing. And, but it's not... But that was also where I have found, for me, because, I've run up against that a couple of other times because I have a disability and my body and my neurological system a lot of times is like, hey, guess what? Let's give up the ghost.
I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm here too. And, like, every time, but now I've learned that, when I do encounter that, the last time I encountered that was a year ago, where I had a malfunction from my baclofen pump, and I got an overdose, and I had to go to the hospital. It was bad, but the thing is, I was getting ready to fly out and move to California, and it was so much, and I couldn't really deal with it so much at that time. I'm like, recovered, but I learned that what really helped me is reaching out and talking to people.
Yeah.
And reaching out and saying, hey, this is how I'm feeling. Because I learned that the only way I was going to get through that was with community support.
Yeah.
On some things. But that's because I already learned, for me, I learned that lesson, from my last experience.
Yeah, but if it's your first time,
you wouldn't know that.
Before. I was like,
you don't know that. And so, and I feel like that's extremely, extraordinarily important to know that. That's something I would like to actually, help teach people that,
And what would you recommend to a community that wants to support? Like, if you have friends that you want, like, if a friend wanted to support someone that was going through a major illness or trauma, what would you recommend to them?
First off, I recommend actually listening to the person and validating that you're hearing them, and that you're listening and that you're genuinely holding space.
Yeah.
And not in the get well soon way, but a genuine, because then that person can feel more comfortable coming out about how they really feel. I have found for me, I think one of the most profound ways I think that I can help someone, I think, is how you can help someone is say, hey, how would you like to be supported?
Yeah.
Because, like, for instance, like, when can I talk about the fact, like, when you, with your experience, was able to say, hey, I knew, I wanted to see you.
Yeah.
But I also knew that your boundaries, you couldn't have like a long.
Yeah.
So being
shorter
supportive.
Visits.
Yeah, shorter
and
visits.
Showing up, like you showed up right. Like
yeah.
I had some friends that were just busy, and because I had very little awake time. If they didn't show up within an hour of when they said, I was like not available to visit. So like,
exactly.
And you were great. You showed up. We talked for like 45 minutes, and you're like, okay, you look tired. I'm going to go let you rest. Is there anything else you need? It was perfect.
And that's how you be. That to me, that helps because that lets that person know that, hey, I'm not alone.
Yeah.
I know that there are people out there who do genuinely care, and even though I'm adjusting right now to the fact that, hey, this horrible thing just happened to me and I almost didn't make it.
It's there's support and caring. Like support. Mike and Lisa came over and brought me lunch because I couldn't cook and I didn't want to decide anything. They cleaned my refrigerator because there was food from before I went in the hospital there. They took the trash out and they're like, okay, we left you dinner, bye. And I was like, oh.
That's that's how you're supportive. And that's like, and so, but you make sure that being supportive is that, listening to that person saying, hey, I'm here. Also listening to their boundaries. They may have new boundaries that they didn't have before.
Well, being in the hospital, there's no, like, they do
because you don't,
and you're like,
and you don't have, you don't have any control. Yeah. In a hospital, I learned, that's kind of where I have now a free approach to who sees me naked because
like, whatever,
because they're all in your business 24 hours.
Yeah, and I think just thinking about sometimes when you've been sick, you don't have the brain power to think of things, but thinking about, hey, when I don't feel well or I don't have a lot of energy, what's hard? Yeah. So like one of my neighbors she's such an amazing woman, Viviana. She'd take my trash out every Monday and roll them back later in the day. And to me, that was like, that's huge.
That is huge.
So just little things like that, and learning to ask for what you need. People sometimes say no, that's okay, but if you don't ask, no one's going to
a closed mouth don't get fed. Yeah. So, right. Sorry.
So we wanted to share this because we want to normalize it for people.
Yeah, we need to talk about that. And I feel like, especially in, whatever comes what may in the future, one way, human beings, how we do survive is, with reaching out and supporting each other.
Yeah. Leave comments below. We'd love to know what you think and how you take care of yourself or others when they've had a major illness. Congratulations on taking this time for yourself and learning these things. If you'd like to follow more of this, you can subscribe to my channel here. Social media is up here, and there's more videos of this type here. See you soon.